On the day I was supposed to marry Ben, he ditched me. He ran off to be with his first love at the hospital. After hanging up, I turned and called Ben's arch-rival. The wedding was set for 9 p.m. Come marry me, and you get all the shares of the corporation. Today was my wedding day with Ben. I was trying on my third wedding dress, bursting with happiness. The makeup artist Lily teased me. Ben's gonna be knocked out by how fabulous you look tonight. I laughed, imagining Ben's reaction when he saw me. As if he sensed it, my phone rang. It was Ben. Ben, what's up? Tina, can we reschedule the wedding? The smile froze on my face. Linda's depression kicked in. She wants me to be with her. Figures. Here we go again. Ben always picked Linda over me when given the choice. The guests are supposed to arrive in an hour, and you want me to send them all away? I tried giving him one more chance. If you meet her and return immediately, I'll act like you never left. He paused. Sorry, Linda needs me. I have to be there for her. Alright, fine. I'm exhausted from all of this. After hanging up, I made everyone leave the makeup room, then started plotting. First option, kick out all the guests and look like a fool. Second option, pretend I don't know Ben's not coming and just wait for him, becoming the laughingstock. Both are stupid options. Linda's definitely trying to sabotage me, making rumors about me for life. After thinking it through, I remembered Ben's rival asked to buy into my business a few days ago. So I called him up. Eric, something's come up, I'll get straight to the point. Wedding's at 9 p.m. Marry me and all shares of Starlight Group are yours. Starlight Group was one of my financial groups, usually used to help Ben out. Eric chuckled. A few shares and you think I'd marry you? There's more to gain from marrying me than you think. My whole family could help you out, and with Starlight, taking Ben down would be a piece of cake. I knew he wanted the shares to go against Ben, so I played along. Eric was nonchalant. Let me think about it. I was confident he'd bite. This was too good an offer for Eric to pass up. And besides, if he didn't come, the only outcome was me being a joke. Honestly, thinking back, it wouldn't be too bad. When I was dating Ben, I was already like a joke. Everyone knew about Ben's first love, Linda. He was with me just for leverage with my resources. I didn't mind, after all, he did save my life. But Linda wasn't happy. She'd been using depression to tie Ben down for 5 years. Everyone could see she was faking it. But Ben was a total fool. This time, my patience finally ran out. I contacted a media outlet, ready to give them a gift. As the wedding began, the host started the ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, the wedding is about to start. Please take your seats to witness this beautiful moment. I stepped onto the stage ahead of time. Please clap and welcome our groom. The door beside the VIP seats slowly opened. Under the spotlight, I could vaguely see someone coming in. Eric walked confidently towards me. He acted like he truly wanted to marry me. He leaned in close and whispered, "Sorry, I was almost late, MS." Tina. I whispered back, "I'm just glad you showed up." The host prompted us to exchange rings when a reporter rushed up, thrusting a microphone at me. MS. Tina, why the sudden groom change? Is there a story here? I had called them on purpose. I looked at Ben's parents, pale in the VIP seats, and took the mic. Because Ben's not up to the mark. I can't let my family line end with me. The crowd erupted. I could hear the growing whispers from the guests. Eric casually leaned in to whisper. So you're saying I am up to it? I rolled my eyes. It's for Ben's sake. I haven't even tested you out yet. The host was having fun with us. Did you two forget about me over here? I think a 10-second kiss is your penalty. My mind blanked out. I gestured to cut it out to the host. I had rewritten the script half an hour before the wedding, taking out the kissing part. After all, We had no real feelings for each other, so kissing publicly was awkward. The host realized his blunder, but words once spoken can't be taken back. Applause roared. It seemed there was no escape. I glanced at Eric. He seemed to understand my look perfectly. Nice, seems like we're quite in sync. I awkwardly placed my hands on his face, aiming for a fake kiss. But Eric beat me to it, kissing me first. My brain went blank, and I closed my eyes, almost automatically. His kiss was both inexperienced and lingering. I completely felt his breath. Faint tobacco scent lingered between our lips. With the crowd counting down, we completed the kiss KPI. Back in the bridal suite, I confronted Eric. Did you take advantage of me just now? I gave you a look. Eric looked puzzled. I thought you meant to make it real. I've given you my first kiss, what more do you want? He put a finger to his eye, pretending to cry, babbling nonsense. Such a rogue. But since he saved the day, the kiss was fine. I handed him a pre-written contract. Sign this, the stock transfer agreement. I cleared my throat and pulled out my phone. Let me read out 3 verbal agreements for you, make sure to listen. 1. We're only a couple in name, so aside from looking the part in public, no other intimate movements. 2. You can see other women, just be discreet and don't drag my family name down. 3. If you've got your fill of benefits, you can always ask for a divorce. Eric nodded like he understood, leaning in closer. No intimate moves, huh? He wrapped an arm around my waist, pulling me towards him. And what about the testing out part? I met his teasing gaze. He laughed, his warm breath puffing onto my face again and again. I felt my head heat up, and quickly backed away as far as possible from him. What's the deal with this? I grabbed a blanket, rolled it up, and placed it in the middle of the bed. This is our boundary, don't cross it. I said it with conviction. But then, I felt suffocated in my dream. I kept struggling, and finally, with a jolt, I woke up. I found myself buried in Eric's chest. I carefully moved away, completely awake. Just as I unlocked my phone, a message pinged. Wanna grab a coffee and chat? I quickly agreed. By the time I reached the shop, it was almost 10. I found Ben and sat across from him. He had already ordered 2 coffees. Your favorite coconut latte? Thanks. I took a sip. So, what do you want to talk about? Tina, don't you love me anymore? Why did you just switch grooms? I didn't let it faze me. Wasn't it you who first went looking for your darling Linda? Why can't I switch husbands? Ben looked exasperated. You know how Linda is, she had a depressive episode yesterday and even cut her wrist. So what? You didn't come. Now I'm married to someone else, and you're seeking relevance here? Ben tried to hold my hand, but I dodged him. This issue has made it to the trending topics. The company's stock plummeted last night, and shareholders are in an uproar. If you'd forgive me and agree to marry me again, maybe we could fix this. But there we go again, it's always about the benefits. Ben, I've willingly been a fool for so many years, do you think I'm dumb? Stop dreaming, I'm not marrying you. I'm leaving. As I stood up, Ben quickly grabbed my hand. Tina, even if not for love, consider the time I saved you, and help me, please? I pulled my hand away fiercely. I've been helping you by staying for 5 years. Ask yourself if 80% of your company's growth wasn't because of me? I've done enough for you. Go console your darling before she slashes her wrist again. Haven't eaten breakfast, but my anger has filled me up. Just as I opened the car door, Eric called. Wifey, are you coming home for dinner or not? It's your birthday today, and if you come back, I'll make a feast for you. I didn't expect Eric to know it was my birthday. On my way back, you can start cooking. I honestly had no idea Eric could cook so well. Seeing the amazing spread on the table, I couldn't help but gush, Eric, you should be a chef. You'd score 10 stars for sure. Eric leaned back lazily, a playful arch in his eyebrows. You've got a good eye, babe. The affectionate nickname felt a bit too cheesy, making me chuckle awkwardly. During dinner, Eric handed me a mysterious black box. What's this? Open it and see. I put down my chopsticks, ready to take a peek. Inside was an obsidian bracelet. I was surprised. Eric, can you read my mind or what? This bracelet looks just like the one I lost. He just smiled without saying a word. The lost bracelet was the only gift from my dad. After I nearly drowned, it vanished, and not long after, my dad passed away unexpectedly. Before moving to Canada, my mom offered to get me a new one, but I refused since the meaning wouldn't have been the same. But now Eric, not knowing any of this, gave me such a similar one. Maybe this bracelet also has Dad's love and comes through Eric's hands. It's nice to think that way, even if it's just wishful thinking. Mind reader Eric, to thank you for this great gift, I think it's fair I give you a little something too. What do you want? Eric broke into a mischievous smile. Come with me to the haunted house. Haunted house? Tina's top fear is ghosts. No way, ask for something else. I can get you a car, a house, even a company, but a haunted house is off limits. No, seriously. In the end, I went. Got dragged into it. Oh hey, Eric. A chubby guy with big ears showed up in the haunted house. He's a friend of Eric's. Eric hugged him. I'm here with my wife, make sure the staff goes easy on us. She's a bit jumpy. The guy gestured an okay and turned to me with a hint of surprise. Tina? Confused, I asked, do you know me? Am I famous now? Of course. Back when Eric nudged him with his shoulder, cutting him off. Just take us in already. As the door shut, all light faded away. Everything turned pitch black, we couldn't see a thing. We had this one flashlight, and I let Eric hold it while I clung to his sleeve, inching forward. As we walked, I suddenly stepped on something firm. I jumped back immediately. Ah! What is that? What is that? Eric's voice came from ahead. It's my heel. Oh. Reaching a corner, Eric led me left. Suddenly, a ghost jumped out from the right, lunging right at me. I screamed wildly. Eric, save me, save me. The next moment, Eric pulled me into his arms, his fragrance washing over me. Probably from being scared, a heat surged through me. He grabbed my hand, and we ran together until we finally saw the light at the exit. How was it? Fun, right? Fun, my foot. I was so scared my heart nearly popped out. Eric chuckled, that's the point. They say doing thrilling stuff together speeds up the bonding process. It's called the suspension bridge effect. He leaned closer, his amber eyes almost swallowing me whole, a tiny mole adding a touch of allure to his high nose bridge. Look, your face is all red. Guess it was pretty effective, huh? I shook off our intertwined fingers. Read my ass. It's because I ran too fast earlier. After a few days of peace, I got an invite to a charity gala. To squash the rumors about my marriage with Eric being a mere contract, I decided to bring him along. A lot of high rollers in the circle were there. Ben was around too. I steered clear of the two. After 5 minutes of socializing, I was totally worn out and decided to let Eric handle the rest. I slumped in a corner, utterly drained. The phone on the table buzzed. Ben had sent a few more texts. Tina, I'm telling you this because of our past. Don't get fooled by Eric. Do you know why he agreed so quickly to marry you? It's because you look like his first love, Wendy. My first reaction was disbelief, so I replied with a haha. He sent another message right after. It's true. Wendy returned to the country a few days ago and she's attending the party. She's chatting with Eric in the hallway right now. If you don't believe me, go go home and check if Eric has a secret diary about his crush. What in the world? I turned off the phone screen and looked over to where Eric was, but he was already gone. Curiosity killed the cat. I opened the door and stepped outside. There I saw Eric laughing and talking with a woman. She also had big waves in her hair, wore a black dress, and had the habit of covering her mouth when she laughed. I stared at her for a while. Then I snapped a picture of myself with my phone. Honestly, there was a resemblance. Once the seed of doubt is planted, it starts to grow. That night, I started searching for the secret diary while Eric was in the shower. Eric and I each had a storage box next to the closet. The sound of running water covered the noise of my rummaging. Finally, I found a notebook. Its pages were yellowed, but the cover was spotless, showing that Eric often wiped it clean. I opened the first page, and there was a big exclamation mark. Below it was a line of small words. July 18, 2016. Next to it was a little heart. The real diary started from the second page. September 2nd, I finally saw you again. I've been wondering, doesn't the teacher scold you for always letting your hair down? Although it does look beautiful. September 5th, I saw you while I was giving a speech. You were standing at the edge, but still as dazzling. September 10th, you two do seem like a good match. Hope the decision I made was the right one. My hands trembled, and I only read one page before closing it. One page was enough. I put it back just as Eric emerged from the bathroom. What are you looking for? Nothing, just tidying up the clothes. I pretended as if nothing happened and returned to the bed, texting Ben. Do you know where Wendy went to high school? He replied almost instantly. Same high school as us, but she went abroad with her boyfriend halfway through. Why? Did you find the diary? I paused for a few seconds. No, just curious. For a week, everything seemed calm. Then the senior class president decided to host a pool party just for our class. When Eric found out, he was eager to go. These parties allow +1s, and I was free that day anyway. Even though I had some reservations, I agreed. I'm not comfortable with water, so I wore regular clothes. Eric did too, saying he'd stay with me on the sidelines. The party was at the class president's house, with a big pool outside the first floor that was 6 feet deep. Class president Mike joked, "Tina, you brought a +1." Just as I was about to respond, I was interrupted. Back then, Tina and Ben were considered the perfect couple. What a shame it didn't last. Instinctively, I wanted to deny it, but thinking about that diary and Ben's texts made me feel uneasy. So, I admitted it. Yeah, it is a shame. After I said it, I looked at Eric, who was looking back at me, his eyes swirling with indiscernible emotions. Mike called out, "Come on, let's all get in the pool." Eric was pulled aside for a chat, leaving me alone by the pool. Then I saw Linda walking over. She wore a bikini, showing off her great figure. Tina, long time no see. Yeah, long time. So, how's the depression? You can come to events like this now? She bit her lip, looking pitifully. I didn't really want to come, but Ben said it might help to participate in group activities. He dragged me here. She's such a pretender. Not wanting to stick around with this mess, I decided to move elsewhere. Just as I turned, someone pushed me into the pool. The water mercilessly filled my nose, rushing into my lungs and throat. It felt just like the time I almost drowned before. I tried to stay calm, but the fear shattered my rational thoughts. Last time, Ben saved me. This time, I wasn't so lucky. I started losing strength. I thought my good days were over. When I woke up, it was in the hospital. My throat felt like it was full of needles. Mike was excited, "Oh good, you're awake." I'd feel guilty forever otherwise. Looks like fate wasn't done with me yet. Was it you who saved me? He shook his head. It was Eric. No one else dared, worried they might drown too. He just took off his jacket and jumped in. Couldn't even stop him. Well, he did work hard to find a stand-in. Wouldn't be easy to let that go to waste. Eric put out a cigarette in the hallway and rushed over. Can't leave you alone for a few minutes without you ending up in the water. Same in high school and now too. High school? I remembered Eric was in the class next to mine in high school, but how did he know about the drowning? Even though I was popular, not many knew about it. How do you know I nearly drowned in high school? Eric paused. Finally, he admitted, I was the one who saved you back then. Why didn't you tell me? Eric thought for a moment before answering. Ben made me promise he was truly into you and wanted to be your hero. He said it'd get him close to you fast. I was nothing back then, and you two were a good match, so I kept quiet. Ben had been playing the long game from the start. I felt Eric's lingering resentment from back then. Probably understanding the gap in their backgrounds spurred him to become self-made. All this time, Eric had been the one protecting me. Why though? Did he plan all along to have me as a stand-in? I looked at Eric's innocent face and shook my head internally. I hope I've got it wrong. I glanced toward the door, and there was Ben, standing outside. He turned to leave as soon as I caught him. A few seconds later, I got a text, "Can we talk once you're feeling better?" By that afternoon, I was mostly recovered. I replied, "I'm all rested up, come over when you can." In the next second, Ben walked in, startling me. I assumed Ben would have been caught up with work by now, but he had been hanging around all along. What's up? What do you want to talk about this time? Ben looked a lot gloomier than his usual self. I know Eric told you everything. But can you give me a chance to explain, Tina? Almost pleading. I nodded, thinking about the 5 years we'd been together. I admit, at first, I came to you with a plan and lies. But then, I genuinely fell for you. As for Linda, it's just sympathy. I chuckled, making Ben a bit uneasy. Seriously, Tina, you have to believe me. I've only ever loved you. I believe you, you're the kind of saint who sympathizes with a random girl so much you wouldn't show up for our wedding. Ben's face turned pale. You arranged for Wendy's dress too, right? He didn't respond, so I took it as a yes. Ben, if I wasn't the head of the company, would you still love me? He took a deep breath, his voice shaking slightly. Yes, I would. No, you wouldn't, I sighed. If I were just an ordinary person, you wouldn't have taken credit for Eric rescuing me, trying to win me over. You've always loved benefits more. Ben's eyes were red, his expression full of sadness. Even if you don't get back with me, really, are you planning to spend your life with Eric? Sure, I set up the whole Wendy dress incident to stir things up between you two. But he did say that about the diary. He admitted to having a crush on Wendy. Since you two look so alike, aren't you worried you're just a stand-in? I felt conflicted. After a moment, as if relieved, I replied, he saved me twice. Even if I'm a stand-in, I'll accept it. I pointed to Linda standing outside, silently crying. Go comfort her. She might harm herself again. I recovered quickly and was out of the hospital in less than 3 days. The day after I was discharged coincided with Eric's business trip. He affectionately ruffled my hair. I'll be back soon. I gave a nod, watching him walk toward the gate. For the first time since we got married, I felt a pang of reluctance. I watched Eric's silhouette disappear into the boarding area. Then I headed to the parking lot to drive home. Just as I opened the car door, someone grabbed me around the neck. A white cloth was pressed against my nose. This is it. My consciousness faded. When I came to, I was tied up on the ground. Looking around, it seemed like an abandoned factory or something similar. Panic surged through me. I hadn't upset anyone lately, have I? Awake now? I looked up to see Linda leading a group of tough guys. Linda, do you even know what you're doing? Kidnapping is illegal, you know? She acted indifferent, stepping on my tied-up left leg. If I'm daring enough to do it, I'm not afraid. Stop acting all high and mighty. I had to admit, she was strong, my leg was going numb from her pressure. She then kicked me hard in the gut. After that, with a graceful turn, she commanded, do whatever you want with her, if she dies, so be it. The leering look from the three guys made my skin crawl like I'd swallowed something disgusting. Just as I was strategizing, someone barged in through the door. Stop it, all of you. I looked out the door in surprise. It was Ben. I rolled my eyes, doubting his ability to handle this situation. Oh well, at least someone came to help. He shoved Linda aside with confidence. You sneaky kidnapper, Linda, I've found you. Linda lay on the ground, pouting. Ben kept moving toward me, drawing the attention of the three tough guys, readying to gang up on him. Come on, guys, play fair. 4 against 1? That's no challenge. How about letting her go, then it'll be 4 against 2. The three guys paused, contemplating. Ben dashed over, hurriedly untying my ropes. Linda got back up, yelling, don't listen to him, attack. The three tough guys rushed us. Just in time, I was untied. Ben went directly to hold Linda off, shouting, it's all up to you now, Tina. I rolled my eyes at him, useless. The first guy clenched his fists, charging at me. I dodged and went for a direct hit. Using all my strength, I left him on the ground, howling an unmanly scream. Seeing this, the second guy raced at me, hands covering his groin, and I swept his legs, making him crash down. Like I was kicking a soccer ball, I aimed for his face, causing a bloody mess. The third guy suddenly stopped, dropped to one knee in front of me. Master, please accept me as your pupil. I smugly glanced at Linda, terror written all over her face. Next to her, Ben shot me a thumbs up, brimming with pride. I knew you could do it. I ended up with a self-defense title. Eric rushed back as soon as he got word. The moment I walked into our home, he pulled me into a hug. I'm sorry, Tina. I should have protected you better. I patted his back, smiling to reassure him. No problem at all, I won a 1v3 battle. He stayed silent, just hugging me tighter. At that moment, I had no idea what was coming. It wasn't until the next day, after Eric left for his trip again, that I heard the news. Linda was dead. It was Eric's doing. I hurriedly called Eric to confirm. Eric, Linda died. Yeah, I know. It was me. I was puzzled. Why taint your hands? She was already sentenced to 5 years. The phone went silent, like it was holding back something. If Ben hadn't untied you, if you weren't such a good fighter, I can't even imagine what might have happened to you. That witch deserves to die 10 times over. I hope nothing bad happens to you again. Kill her to prevent future troubles. Those words were sharp and low, and I could feel Eric's intense cold vibe even through the screen. He seemed a bit different from his usual laid-back self. But instead of being scared, I felt touched. Yet, thinking back to what I talked about with Ben at the hospital, I suddenly felt deflated. Why do you care about me so much? He seemed surprised, his tone rising. Because you're my wife, of course, I care. That's a lie. You clearly just see me as a stand-in for Wendy. He laughed over the phone. Are you jealous? Just tell me if you are. Ever since you saved me that first time, you've seen me as her substitute. Isn't that why you married me, because I look like her? Eric sighed. Of course not. You've never been anyone's substitute. I never even liked Wendy. I only like you. His unexpected confession made my heart flutter a bit. I saw your diary confessing your crush on Wendy. That was written for you. Ben said you admitted you had a crush on Wendy back in school. That was a lie to him. He found my diary and kept asking about it. I was embarrassed and used the excuse of someone I'm most familiar with. But I really do look like Wendy. Besides the hairstyle, how? I was running out of arguments. I gave up, and after hanging up, I couldn't help but smile like an idiot. Turns out you had a crush on me all along. Geez, I shouldn't have asked. Awkward. Since then, life settled into a calm routine. That day, I enjoyed the breakfast Eric made, as usual. The doorbell rang. I swallowed my milk and went to the door. It was a mailman. Hello, please sign for your delivery. Oh, sure, thanks. I looked at the letter addressed to Tina. I slowly opened it. Tina, by the time you read this, I should be close to New Zealand. I've given up on the chance to be an heir. Without you by my side, I'm exhausted from facing this treacherous business battleground. I understood everything you said to me in the hospital. Thank you for teaching me so much and helping me grow. I hope you can forgive the foolish and selfish person I was before. Wishing you and Eric a happy and long-lasting life together. Dumbass Ben, March 6, 2024. Seeing this signature, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I looked up at the sky. Just then, a plane flew by slowly. I typed out a message, thanks for the blessing, dumbass. I also wish you a fulfilling life in New Zealand. I turned to look at Eric devouring his breakfast, and a wave of happiness washed over me.